Welcome. Good evening, parents. Welcome to Parent University Classroom Academy. We're excited to have you here today. We're going to give a few minutes for people to log in, so we'll get started here in about 2 minutes. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, we're happy to have you here today. So this is our process of our Classroom Academy. We will begin with our monthly Zoom, which I demonstrate the lessons monthly, which will follow up with our weekly companion pieces. And then the district literacy department provides our mid-month blog and the end of the month supplement video. And you can subscribe to our weekly text message using the QR code or the bit.ly on the screen. And then please at any time go back and visit our RISD Parent University website or use the bit.ly. A moment to scan. And this screen will also be at the end of our slides today, end of the presentation. Welcome, welcome. I'm Dr. Nicadria Johnson. I'm just excited to be here with you. Again, I have over 20 years experience in elementary education. I'm just passionate about reading, writing, instilling a love of literacy in all students. So welcome, welcome. And I'm excited to be here with you today. This is our monthly learning for this year, the months and dates, and our learning. You can access any past videos from last year to this year on our Parent University website. It will be a QR code at the end of the presentation for the Parent Classroom Academy website. And then also, if you notice here in March, we have Parent Choice. So you're able to scan the QR code for that Google form to provide suggestions for learning. So today we'll discuss vocabulary. March is Parent's Choice. April, come in with our last component of fluency as, developing a good reader. And then May will end with some summer support. Our objective today is to empower parents with useful tools to help build early literacy skills with their emergent readers. We're also here today to foster rich discussions about language and reading at home. And remember, if you have any questions, please send a message through the chat and we will address your questions. The intended outcome of today's presentation is just to help you understand vocabulary development and to support early literacy skills as you are engaged in reading at home. So I'm going to take you back. This is our big five components, our good reader chart. These are the 5 skills good readers need to be successful in reading. Of course, our focus today is vocabulary. And again, in April, our last component will discuss fluency. So it's always good to bring this chart back so you can see all the skills your child needs to develop as an early reader. And vocabulary is understanding, defining, and using new words to understand the text. Vocabulary plays an important part in learning to read. Beginning readers must use words they hear to make sense of new words they see in print. Vocabulary is key to reading comprehension because readers cannot understand what they're reading without knowing what most words mean. Let's dive right into our learning. I know we're super excited about that. I'm excited about vocabulary today. There are things that we do every day to build vocabulary. Indirect learning happens throughout everyday experiences. School, home, going, outside to family functions, all these experiences build vocabulary. Direct learning is intentional learning during reading through a conversation within a book. So that's our indirect learning and then our direct learning. The key to building vocabulary is exposing your child to different types of literature. For example, fairy tales, fictional texts, biographies, informational texts, poetry. These are all the genres we've gone over. You can go back to last year's learning when we talked about different read alouds. All of those genres can help your child and expose them to different type of vocabulary. So the key, read to your child as much as possible, builds vocabulary. Find books your child can read independently so you can inspire that love for reading in your child. The school library and public libraries have level readers where your child can check out books to bring home. And when the text is easier to read, then this will motivate your child to read when the text is not hard. So you can have that talk about rich vocabulary. So you want to read to them, but you also want your child to read to you as well. So parent as a teacher tip, the first thing, make reading fun. Reading is so exciting and could be so much fun. And the way you can do that is creating a book club with your child. Y'all both have the same book and you're engaged in reading. Sometimes you may have your child dress like the characters. You can dress like a character as well. Participate in that conversation about the book. Read in special places around the house. For example, outside under the tree, if the weather permits, read on the porch, sit on the porch and read. Children love fort, build a fort, read under the fort. You can also just have a picnic outside and enjoy reading, put down a blanket and sit down and just enjoy a book together and foster that rich vocabulary by having those book discussions. And so here's some sentence stems you can use. Where would you like to read today? Let your child choose to spark that interest and love so y'all can have that conversation. And what do you want to talk about today? And this sentence stems goes with just a general statement, driving in the car, walking to the park. So that can spark those conversations throughout the day. And so if your child is given short answers to your questions, for example, use specific questions such as, what did the character do to feel sad? Or instead of, how does the character feel? So ask specific questions to spark the conversation. Direct learning. As you're reading, stop and talk about words in the book. That's direct learning. It's just that conversation, just stop and talk. This is the best way to introduce a variety of rich vocabulary. Showing the images of the words as you're talking about it, pull up an image and show your child that image that goes along with the words you've discussed. will also help. And connect your personal experiences to the new vocabulary you talk about within the text as you're reading and trying to find the meaning of those unfamiliar words. And just have a conversation about new words that they've heard listening to the stories, even watching TV, cartoons, their favorite shows. Talk about the vocabulary and expose them to that. Ask questions about the vocabulary you hear as they're listening or watching a movie. And lastly, talk about the importance of a large vocabulary and the importance of making an effort to learn new words. And again, connecting it to other texts that's read or listened to or movies you've watched. Okay, so just talk about like having that vocabulary and knowing other words help you understand different meaning of words. If you have any questions, please remember, send your questions to the chat and we will address it. Parent as teacher tip. And these are some sentence stems you can use as you're reading a book with your child. The word blank means blank. For example, if the word was an example of a word, if the word was, say, jubilant will come up in one of our slides, you could say the word jubilant means happy. So you're taking that vocabulary word and giving them a meaning of the word that they would understand. And then then you'll turn around and say, let's use it in a sentence. That way we can turn around and use jubilant in a sentence. For example, I was so jubilant on my birthday. So they're actually learning the new word and using the word in a sentence. And it's great to make connections with experiences and learning. So you can say, do you remember when we went to the park and you were so jubilant, or you went to grandmother's house and you were just so jubilant? Like, you can use your experiences. Those experiences connect to the new learning. And these are the sentence stems you could use. So this diagram shows the ways children process the meaning of unknown vocabulary words while reading. And this skill is used K2, as they're also taught in the classroom. They will use the context clues to help them understand unfamiliar words. Your child will use context clues to find the meaning of words by looking for a synonym, an antonym, prefix of a word, suffix in a word. And sometimes it's given examples within the book, or it will show a definition, which we're going to go and give you some examples here in a little bit. But again, they use the context clues is the umbrella, and then the synonyms, antonyms, prefix, suffix, examples, and definition help them understand the meaning of an unfamiliar word. So here, making meaning. Everything is about making meaning and understanding what is read. So a synonym is a word or phrase that means exactly or nearly the same as another word, of course, in the same language. For example, jubilant. Jubilant means happy, excited. So those three, you can do those interchangeably: jubilant, happy, excited. And then we have antonyms, are words that have the opposite meaning of another word. So for example, unhappy, you can say sad. Okay, unhappy, yes, is the opposite of jubilant. Sorry about that. Unhappy is the opposite of jubilant. It's the opposite meaning. Okay, and sad will be another synonym. Okay, then we have at the bottom left, we have prefixes, which you see the prefix it's at the front of the word. I've highlighted it red. Are letters which we add to the beginning of a word to make a new word with a different meaning. So example, re means again. And so if you say reread, that means you're going to read it, the book again. And then some other examples of prefix are like mean, yes, is a great one. Or dis, they all mean not, like dislike, you do not like that. Okay. And then we have in the right corner, we have suffix is a letter or group of letters placed at the end of the word to create a new word. And remember, so the suffix is located at the end of the word. So if you see, I've highlighted the S red because that's the suffix. And when you add suffix S, it's saying that you have more than one, there's more than one animal in the text that you mean. So it means more than one in this situation, the suffix. But remember, the best way to build vocabulary is within text and having that book conversation. So, for example, let's look at our text, wiggly worms. I'm going to go in. So table of contents. Again, you can have conversation, build rich vocabulary just from the table of contents. But we're going to go to page 4. Says small animals, big changes. Do you know about earthworms? These small animals change the soil in big ways. Soil. The small animals change the soil in big ways. Of course, it being bolded lets you know that it's important. But you can say, did you know that dirt is a synonym for soil? They have the same meaning. Or did you know that ground is a synonym for soil? Okay. And then the opposite of soil, which would be the antonym, did you know that sky is the opposite of ground, soil, and dirt? Okay, so we have the synonym, but this is where you can have that conversation about the synonym of words, choosing a word within text and having that discussion. And then the visual matches it. And so here, so we have the prefix, which is the word part before, and then we'll have the suffix plural. So for example, here in earthworms, it shows the suffix S. So it means there's more than one earthworms. So you can have that discussion as well. Parent as a teacher's tip. Blank is a synonym for the word blank. For example, we just gave you an example. Dirt is a synonym for the word soil. And then again, blank is an antonym for the word. And then you can, we use an example, sky is an antonym for the word soil. And then to have that rich discussion about the prefix. So prefix is a word, prefix in the word means, so the meaning of the word is, and y'all can discuss the meaning of the word with the suffix and how it changes the meaning. And again, have a book talk. You can pull out words in like the genres we mentioned earlier. You can pull out unfamiliar words in fiction texts, within poetry, informational texts, biographies, fairy tales. So any of that can build that rich vocabulary in the genres I spoke about earlier. So, and again, your child will use the context clues to make meanings. They're given examples sometimes within text or a definition in text. So I'm gonna go to the next page, the next section. Great thing about informational, you can start reading anywhere. This is slimy worms. Earthworms are slimy. The slime helps keep earthworms cool and wet. It also helps earthworms slide through soil. Slimy Let's talk about the word slimy. We're going to read the slime helps keep the earthworms cool and wet. So that definition of slimy is cool and wet. So you can just imagine, and here's the visual to help, that the touch of the earthworm is cool and wet, and that is the definition of slimy. Again, please let me know if you have any questions. Just take a moment. Okay. Right here is, I stated earlier that our March learning is parents' choice. Anything you would like more learning about. We've gone over fluency, spelling, vocabulary. We've phonemic awareness last year, beginning of school year, phonological awareness. So anything that you need extra learning about, please scan this QR code and provide suggestions so we can make sure you're getting the learning that you need. I'm gonna give you a minute to just scan and you can complete the QR code. And again, this is also located on our Parent University website, and we will see that QR code in a few. So please let us know if you have any questions, and the chat would be great. Let me check. Let me go back. Sorry about that. Not seeing any questions at this time. So again, we want to say thank you for joining us today. We'll subscribe weekly to our campaign activities. This is a QR code. And if you would like to visit our RISD Parent University website, the QR code is also located on the screen. But again, we're here to just empower you with those discussions and help you support your child early literacy reading. And so we always end with our quote here at Parent University is today a reader, tomorrow a leader. We truly believe that, and we just want to thank you for joining us today. Let's check to see. Hey, we want to thank you for joining. I'll be here another minute or two just to see if anyone has any questions. Truly want to thank you for coming out tonight. And again, let me know what you want more information about in March, which is coming up March 9th. So I look forward to seeing you. Come back and learn with us. Well, thank you guys so much. Have a great night, and we will see you guys on March 9th. Please come back. Thank you so much for being here today.